Welcome to Tirumala Vaibhavam YouTube channel. Today we will dive into another spiritual story. Do subscribe and like the video for more such deep spiritual content.
Alright, let's dive right into one of the most incredible, psychologically intense chapters in all of world literature, the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Now this isn't just some ancient story. This is the setup for a conversation that has literally echoed through the ages. We are on the brink of a massive war, where the stage is set not just for a battle of swords and arrows, but for a battle within the soul of its greatest hero.
So picture this. We're on a vast, sacred plain called Kurukshetra. On one side, you have the Kauravas, and on the other, their own cousins, the Pandavas. This is it, the final showdown after a long, bitter family feud over who gets the kingdom. You can just feel the tension in the air. The stakes could not be higher. Everything is about to be decided right here, right now.
So before a single arrow flies, the story starts by showing us the two armies, and more importantly, what's going on inside the minds of their leaders just moments before it all kicks off.
And right away, you can see a huge difference between the two sides. On paper, the Kauravas should be feeling pretty good. Their army is bigger, and it's led by the legendary undefeated warrior Bhishma. But their leader, Prince Duryodhana, is just filled with anxiety. Meanwhile, the Pandavas, even though they're outnumbered, seem calm, united, and have this quiet confidence that their enemies are clearly missing.
And you can really hear Duryodhana's worry in his own words. He goes to his own teacher, Drona, and instead of boasting about his own huge army, he's pointing out how good the enemy's formation is. He even points out that it was arranged by Drona's own clever student. You can just sense the mix of respect and honestly fear in his voice. He calls their army mighty, and that tells you everything you need to know about his state of mind.
So, to try and boost his prince's confidence, the old patriarch Bhishma lets out a roar like a lion and blows his conch shell. And just like that, the Kaurava side explodes in this chaotic noise of war drums and trumpets. But then comes the response. From their chariot, Lord Krishna and our hero Arjuna sound their own divine conches, and the whole Pandava army follows, not with just random noise, but with one unified blast. The sound is described as so powerful it echoes across heaven and earth and literally shatters the hearts of their enemies. The psychological battle has already begun.
Okay, so the camera now zooms in from these massive armies to the central hero of our story, the Pandava prince Arjuna. And he makes a very simple request, one that's about to change everything.
As that incredible sound fades, Arjuna, the best archer in the world, turns to his charioteer. Now, you have to remember, his charioteer is none other than Lord Krishna himself, in human form. And Arjuna asks him, "Hey, can you drive our chariot out into the middle, into that no man's land between the two armies?" He wants a good look. He wants to see exactly who he's up against. It seems like a pretty reasonable request for a general, right? A chance to size up the competition and get ready for the fight. But what happens when a warrior looks across the battlefield and sees not just enemies, but something way, way more personal? What is this view from the center of the field really going to show him? And this is the absolute heart of the chapter. Krishna does what he asks, and in that moment, as Arjuna stares at the army arrayed against him, his famous heroic resolve doesn't just crack, it completely shatters into a million pieces. Because in that one awful moment, the reality of the war just crashes down on him. He doesn't see anonymous soldiers. He sees his great-grandfather Bhishma. He sees his revered teacher, Drona. He sees his uncles, his cousins, his friends from childhood. All of them, lined up, ready to kill him and ready to die by his hand. The idea of war is suddenly a horrifyingly personal reality. He's here to kill his own family.
And let's be clear, this isn't cowardice. This is a deep, profound crisis of the soul. The man who was so confident just moments ago is now just hit with this tidal wave of emotion. His knees go weak, his mouth goes dry, his whole body starts to tremble. The sight of his own family, his own blood, ready to destroy each other, triggers a complete psychological collapse.
So out of this emotional chaos, Arjuna starts trying to rationalize his despair. He starts making these really powerful arguments to Krishna against fighting. First, it's just pure compassion. How can I possibly kill the people I'm supposed to love and protect? Second, he's terrified of the sinful consequences, the bad karma from slaughtering his relatives.
Third, he predicts total social collapse. With all the men gone, who will uphold the family traditions? And finally, he just asks, what's the point? What good is a kingdom? What good is winning if you have to build it on the bodies of everyone you care about?
Arjuna's arguments just keep spiraling downward, leading to this climax of absolute despair and a total physical and emotional breakdown, right there in the middle of the battlefield.
And it all comes to a head with this one verse. After laying out his case, he is just completely overcome by grief. He tells Krishna he can't go on, and then he just drops his legendary bow, the Gandiva, lets his arrows fall, and sinks down onto the floor of the chariot, completely and utterly defeated.
Just let that sink in for a moment. This is Arjuna, the undefeated hero, the peerless warrior, and he's been conquered, not by an enemy's weapon, but by the war going on inside his own head. The battle hasn't even started, and its greatest hero has already given up. This moment right here sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
So, let's pivot from this incredible drama for a second and talk about what it all means. Because Arjuna's crisis isn't just some old story. It's a powerful metaphor for an experience we all go through.
So why do we focus so much on this total breakdown? It's because Arjuna's despair is the necessary first step for the wisdom that's about to come. You know, sometimes you have to completely fall apart to admit you have no answers before you're ready to hear the truth. His pain creates the space for Krishna's teachings.
And this gets to the real heart of it. The battlefield of Kurukshetra, it isn't just a place, it's a symbol for the battlefield of our own lives. And the text is telling us that the real enemies we fight are usually our own weaknesses, our fear, our doubt, our confusion. We all have a tendency to run away from hard things. And then, just like Arjuna, we come up with some really good-sounding moral reasons to justify our inaction.
Now, out of this whole dramatic crisis, we can actually pull out 3 huge life lessons that are just as powerful today as they were thousands of years ago. Let's break them down.
First lesson, we have to break our entitled mindset. Duryodhana is the perfect example of this problem. He feels he's entitled to the kingdom no matter what, and it leads him down a dark path. Arjuna's crisis, on the other hand, shatters any sense of entitlement. It forces him to question everything he thought he knew, opening him up to a much deeper truth.
The second lesson is that real knowledge requires humility. Wisdom isn't something that just magically appears. Arjuna, this great warrior, hits his breaking point and basically says, "I don't know what to do. Please, teach me." That act of surrender, of admitting he needs help, is what turns him from a warrior into a student. It shows us that to really learn anything, we have to be humble enough to ask for guidance. And finally, lesson number 3 comes from Krishna himself. I mean, think about it. The Supreme Lord of the universe could have shown up as anything, a king, a god of thunder. Instead, he chooses to be Arjuna's driver, a humble servant. He's teaching us that a title means nothing. True greatness is about doing your part, whatever it is, with full dedication and service. And so that's where we leave chapter 1. The 2 armies are standing there, ready to go. But their greatest champion is sitting in a heap in his chariot, his famous bow cast aside. His crisis is complete. The problem has been perfectly and painfully laid out on the table.
The biggest question of all is just hanging in the air. How is Krishna, his friend and his guide, going to respond to this profound despair? What could you possibly say to a man so broken that he's ready to give up on everything? The answer to that question is the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, and it is, without exaggeration, the most famous dialogue in history, and it's about to begin.
That was today's story. Please do like, share and subscribe for more such interesting stories. Let's connect with another story. Till then, stay blessed.